server as well as Mac OS X client. And we surround it with functionality, the first being file service for Macintoshes, so that you can keep all your files on the server. No problem. The second is net booting. Now, this is something new for our industry. When you're using your server as a file server, you can have literally over 1,000 clients on it. But what if you wanted to do more than that? What if you wanted to do more than just get your applications or your documents off a server? What if you actually wanted to get your operating system off a server? We've done that. We have modified the Mac OS so that it can boot over a network, boot off Mac OS X server, and all of the storage that it does on the server. It thinks it's doing it locally, but it's doing it on the server. Now, what does this mean? What this means is that you can have one copy of the Mac OS on a server and have, let's say, a classroom of 50 iMacs all booting if you want off that server. So that when you want to upgrade your OS, you could upgrade it in one place. When you want to upgrade your apps, you can upgrade one copy in one place. And all of those 50 students in this case would have access to that instantly. Net booting. The third. This is a very, very powerful multitasking server. It can do many things at once. And so we want to do a bunch of stuff on the internet. Apache is the world's most popular web server. It is open source software, and it is used by over half of the websites on the internet. It's far more pervasive, far more popular than web servers from Netscape or Microsoft or anybody else. Matter of fact, we use them ourselves at Apple to run Apple.com and the Apple Store, getting 10 million hits a day. We have built in a very high performance version of the Apache web server into Mac OS X server, so that while you're doing all these other things, you can also be a web server. In addition to that, Apple owns some incredible technology called WebObjects. And it's a product called WebObjects, which is sold to the enterprise. And it's been sold to the enterprise for tens of thousands of dollars. And WebObjects was, you've heard the term app server? WebObjects was the industry's first app server. And even though we try to keep it a secret, it's actually the biggest one. It's bigger than any of these other ones, NetDynamics or anything like that. We've got over 2,000 customers for this thing. It's incredible. And what we have done is to bring it to the Mac community. This is the first time it's run on Macintosh. We are bundling a copy in alongside Apache in Mac OS X server. And this is the most powerful technology in the world for building sophisticated websites fast. And it's amazing. And it works in conjunction with Apache. And for those developers that want to develop their own applications beyond that, all of BSD Unix and Java on the server side. So this is Mac OS X server. We think it's a really, really strong product. It's the first modern server from Apple. Now, what I'd love to do now is just show you a little bit. So could I get out a Power Mac G3 running Mac OS X server, and I'm going to use an iMac as a client. So, this Power Mac G3 server, this Power Mac G3 running Mac OS X server, we're going to sell this in a server configuration with a 1/4 gigabyte of RAM, 2 9 gigabyte Ultra 2 SCSI drives, and a board that has 400 megabit Ethernet ports on it, all for $49.99. So that's an under $5,000 server. You can buy the software if you want separate, but we'll sell completely bundled, ready to go configs. And I've got an iMac here as a client. So I'm just going to log in. And what we're going to see is I'm pulling stuff off the server. Now, how do you know I'm pulling stuff off the server here? Well, because on this iMac, I took out the hard drive. I made this into a diskless Macintosh to demonstrate how fast sucking stuff off the server is. Because with 100 megabit Ethernet, it's faster to get stuff off the server often than it is off your local hard disk. So I'm going to just go ahead and launch an app, let's say. And I'll just launch AppleWorks here. So this is AppleWorks coming right off the server. You see how fast it's launching. I'm bringing up a document. Here's a document. Again, everybody that had permission could share this from the server. But just a simple AppleWorks document, very, very simple. Now, let me go to the internet. So I'll click on Internet Explorer. Did I click on it there? There we go. So I'm loading Internet Explorer, again off the server. And now I'm going to point to an internet site. Well, what's the internet site I'm pointing to? The internet site I'm pointing to is also running on that very same server. Because we can do all sorts of things at the same time. So the internet site is running on Apache on this same server, and we wrote a WebObjects app in a few hours that just gave me this simple application. Running with Apache all on that server. So I could say, well, this is cool. Let me go ahead and look at some QuickTime video. So let me go ahead and play this video here. Again, coming over the server. It's about a megabit per second streaming over the server. It takes a few seconds.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Turning to the side and said I'm angry. 5 days since you laughed at me. The same
Again, 1 megabit per second video streaming off the server to a diskless client. No problems at all. Okay. Now, this is pretty cool. But, I mean, you know, one server, one client, you probably wouldn't do that. Right? You probably want this configuration when you have a bunch of clients. Let's say a classroom of 50 iMacs. So why don't we bring one of those out here? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start these puppies all up remotely, and they're each going to play their own QuickTime movie. They're not synchronized. They're not sharing the same stream. This is 49 different streams, feeding 49 different iMacs, all off this one server. So let's go ahead and start that up. It'll take a second or two to start up here.